welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be doing the 30 lessons that I have learnt coming up to my 30th birthday. And I have very mixed feelings about this birthday. To be honest, like 90% of them are positive. I don't feel like I'm 30 because I think 30 used to be a number that really scared me. But coming up to 30 now, I've spent a bit of time reflecting on my life, on business, on personal, on relationships, on all of those things. And there's been a few realizations, a few truths, a lot of mistakes looking back on things, but mistakes often teach us lessons and learnings. So in this video today, I'm going to reflect on 30 tips for you as I come up to my 30th birthday on health and fitness related, on business, and also in relationships and mindset. So this video, I'm sure, will help a lot of females out there in particular. Hopefully, maybe make these changes a little earlier than what I did in my life, but there is no point dwelling on that story of what if I had done this when I was 22, 23. It doesn't help anything because I'm here now, my life is at this point now. So I hope you enjoy this video, and here are my 30 tips. Alright guys, so I will be recording this for my podcast channel at all, so if you do see me looking down at my phone, I've also pre-written out my 30 answers there, so I'm super organised. And if you do want to tune in on iTunes, if it's easier for you to listen to, then you can search Bodies, Barbells and Bagels and it will be one of the episodes in there. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so I definitely learned a lot about myself doing this. And I guess first up, like, I've been in the health and fitness industry for 10 years now. There's been a lot of change in the industry, there's been a lot of different things going on, and I've learnt a lot of positives that I think are amazing from the health and fitness industry, and I've also learned a lot of the things that I don't want to do and that I don't really want to be a part of, like certain supplement industries I've moved away from, like I used to run a lot of challenges and things like that, and I've definitely moved away from that in my business now because a lot of these things don't preach long-term results, which is what I want to preach to my clients today. So, coming up to my 30th birthday, let's get started. Let's not procrastinate, but let's get into number one. So, the number one thing that I have learned at 30. Number one, happiness isn't based on a scale or reflection. I think that's a huge one, and that took me a very long time to get to that. That did not happen overnight. I would say it took me a good 5-6 years in the fitness industry, but I was having problems with the way I looked since the age of 14. So that was when I really remember kind of a sticking point that I look back at and go, okay, yeah, that was when I started looking at my body and picking things apart and being so hard on myself and starting to get obsessed with the scales. And obviously I went through an eating disorder as well in my young teenage years. So everything about who I was so focused on the scales and on my reflection. And in the reality, looking back on it and comparing it to the place I'm at today, there was two reasons why I was so focused on that. I think as a teenager, struggling with it, I didn't know who I was as a person. I didn't know what I could give to society besides an image or besides the way I looked. And then when I hated the way that I looked and the scale weight and all of those things, then I felt like I gave nothing to society. I was like, well, I'm not funny and I'm not super smart and I'm not this and I'm not that. So what is it that I give? And that really used to control my happiness a lot until I realized that I had other good qualities and I started focusing on other areas that made me happy. So that is my number one tip. Happiness is not based on a scale or reflection. Like, you are so much more than that. And as soon as you realize that, you'll not only be more content with how you are physically, but also so much happier mentally. I think for me personally, I always grew up and I was the girl that was the fast runner. I was the girl that was good at sport. That was who I was. And then when I got injured and quit athletics around 22, then I got even more lost in my image and got obsessed with bodybuilding and obsessed with competing because, again, it gave me a new image. Rather than just focusing on, well, what are other areas in my life that can make me happy and what is happiness? Is it just about how I look or a number on the scales? Absolutely not. No longer do the scales define my happiness. If I wake up in the morning and I've gone up a kilo, it doesn't matter. It's just weight. It can go back down. It can be fluid, okay? It's not the be all and end all in life. So that is my number one. Number two, this is a bit more an upbeat, bit more positive one. Dogs bring eternal happiness to your life. This is probably one of my regrets. I wish I got a dog earlier in my life. Like, I had a dog when I was a kid, but you know, it was our family dog, and I loved her. She actually, sadly, we had to get her put down last year. So she's like 16 years old. But I know this sounds a bit strange, but I got Buffy, my smallest dog, she's almost 4 now, so I got her 3.5 years ago, and I got her when I was single and I was on my own. We'd recently been broken into, and I had a guy standing over me in my bed, like literally standing over me, and I woke up and I saw this person in a house. I lived with a friend who was a FIFO worker, so he was away a lot, I was by myself a lot, and it was a little scary. So I got a dog. Now, if anyone knows Buffy, she's not exactly the scariest dog in the world. She's like 7 kilos, but she's an amazing guard dog. She barks at anything. She will be up and about if there's any noise or movement in the house. And I got her originally to make me feel safe, and also I was at a point in my life where I didn't want a relationship, and I wanted to have a break from that for a while, and getting a dog was like a really good thing for me because it made me also pull back on work. It made me realize that there was more important things to life than work, because at that point in my life I didn't want a relationship because I was working so much. And I remember when I got my dog and my mum was like, what are you doing? You don't have any time. You're so busy. I never get to see you. You're always working. You're always doing something. And it actually made me quit working in the gym and go all online because I just wanted to spend more time with my puppy. Now I know that sounds funny looking back on it, but it made me realize the important things in life. And now I have 2 dogs, and they bring so much happiness and joy to my life. And also my partner Sean, we got our second one when we were together. He fell madly in love with Buffy, and he didn't like small dogs when we first met. And I know it's going a bit off topic, but it really made me take stock of my life and what happiness actually meant to me. And they bring me so much happiness and joy, and that I don't care now about spending time with them. I spend a lot of time with them in my day, but it makes me happy. So even if I'm not working as much as what I used to, might not be making the same money that I was used to making maybe before, but my happiness at the end of the day means so much, and that prioritizing spending time with my dogs and my boyfriend, or those things, are some of the things that truly do make me happy. Number 3, no pill, potion, fad diet can outdo hard work and a balanced nutritional regime. This also took me a long time to understand. As a coach, as I guess, hopefully a role model for women out there, I want them to all remember this. I think when I first got into the health and fitness industry, I was on that hunt for like the perfect supplement that would help with fat loss, or would help with this, would help with that, a perfect diet. I've tried keto, I've tried low carb, high carb, intermittent fasting, vegan, vegetarian, everything. And the biggest thing I've realized is that no one diet is going to be the best fit for anyone, and no one diet is going to outdo simply understanding energy balance, energy intake, energy output. There's no quick fixes. Just focus on the long term. Focus on changing your lifestyle. Number 4, that giving your fucks is exhausting. Care less about what people think if they're not someone's opinion who you really value. Now, I added that last bit in because I do say it a lot. You'll hear me say a lot, stop giving away your fucks, stop giving a fuck about what that person thinks or what this person thinks. That doesn't make you an asshole, and I used to think that it did. I used to think that I had to really care about what other people thought and had to really take... It's different. You need to take other people's thoughts and feelings into account, but at the same time, if somebody is affecting you in a negative way and they're not someone that you really truly value in your life, or they're not, you know, it's some random on social media throwing some shade at you, I've learned to not give a fuck about those comments. That if somebody wants to say something negative towards me or about me and I don't even know them, and they're not a part of my life, and they don't know me, and they're making judgment based off something I posted on social media, then you just can't give a fuck about it. Because I used to let those comments really get to me, and I stopped posting for a very long time. I had really big gaps from social media because of negative comments, and then I look at other women who have huge followings. Like, I don't even have a big following, but I'm talking people that have like millions, and the amount of hate that they get, and they consistently post. They're just learning that there is no point giving a fuck about other people's opinions that don't have an impact on your life if you know you're doing something positive, if you know what you're putting out there is going to help someone, or if you know that what you're saying is for the best. As long as everything that you say and do comes from your heart and comes from a positive place, you really can't go wrong. And there's no point giving your fucks to people that either don't value your opinion, don't value your time, don't respect you. That's another one I've definitely learned. I have had a lot of clients and people in my life who have messed me around in terms of I guess, respecting what I do for work and just, can I ask you a question? Can I do this? Can I do that? And I'm like, I am so happy to give out free content and help people, but at the same time, it made me realize that people need to respect that that's how I put food on my table, that being a coach is my full-time job. And I know not a lot of people do it as a full-time job, but I do. So learning that the people that respect me will respect my time and respect all of these areas of my life, and I shouldn't give a fuck about the people that are constantly wanting things for free and never actually like respecting me as a human being. Like in saying that, some of my best friends get coached by me and they all pay me. They all don't complain about it. They all just respect that, hey, this is a business and you need to put food on your table. You need to support your family, your dogs, all of these things. And the people that truly respect and value you will not complain about that. They'll support you. Sometimes some of my clients are like, are you sure? Are you sure that's okay? Like, you don't want me paying you more? And I'm like, no, it's fine. Like, you've been with me for 7 years. Like, it's cool. The next one, 5, focusing on your own happiness rather than trying to gain it from others' opinions or action leads to less false expectations. 110%. I was someone that used to care so much about other people's opinions about me. If they thought I was a good person, if they thought I was smart, if they thought I was lean, if they thought I was this, if they thought I was that. And it got exhausting. So trying to really focus less on other people's opinions and focus more on your own happiness is a massive one there. Number 6, when you expect less, you appreciate more. Lower your expectations for others and raise your standards for yourself. Now, I know that one sounds a little bit similar to the last one, but it's more about putting expectations on other people. So I remember being in relationships before and I would expect that my boyfriend would do X and Y, and they would be really grumpy and moody at him and a bad girlfriend. And looking back on relationships, I was never the perfect girlfriend. I never will be, but I've improved a lot as a partner in life. And that goes the same for staff. I run a business and I used to expect a lot of my staff because I expect a lot of myself. And I had to realize that not everyone lives to the same standard as me, and they might value things higher or lower than other areas of your life. So you can't expect things of people. If you want something from someone, fucking tell them. It's as simple as that. If I thought in my head, oh, I expected that Sean would have packed up the dishes or washing by now every time I came home, and then got frustrated about it and went bitch to a girlfriend about it, it helps nothing. But if I said to him, hey darling, I'd really appreciate if you helped out a little bit more around the house, I feel like maybe you're not pulling your weight, can we have a chat about it? Then that's completely different, because I'm then discussing it with him and then we're setting a standard rather than an expectation. And that's the exact same with staff. Instead of expecting them to go above and beyond, because they won't, it's not their business, it's my business. I have to tell them what I need to get done, what the basic standard is that I expect, and then if they go above and beyond that, fucking awesome. Then that's just like a bonus, that's the icing on the cake. So don't expect, spend more time appreciating. Number 7, gratitude is one of the simplest tasks to do, but it can change your mindset in an instant. Absolutely. I started probably practicing gratitude about a year and a half, 2 years ago now, and my whole mindset has completely changed. When I used to be a very, very stressed out person, and I would be unhappy and I would get overwhelmed, and I used to be like, oh my God, I've got all of these inquiries to get back to and all of these clients that want to work with me and all of these things that are stressing me out. And now I look at it and I'm like, I am so freaking grateful that people want to work with me. I am so grateful that clients are inquiring with me. And I'm sure they will understand if it takes me a day or two to get back to an inquiry or, you know, whatever, that there's no point stressing over it. And again, the people that respect you will understand that, you know, you're busy. If you're successful, you are someone that's going to be, you know, it takes a little bit of time to get back to things on. But I used to really get stressed out by simple tasks like that until I started focusing on gratitude. Because when you get stressed, you procrastinate, you actually get less efficient with your time. So focusing on gratitude for a second brings you back to reality. The same with focusing on gratitude when you're, say, when I was fixing my hormones and having a break from the gym as much and not dieting and gaining some body fat. I could have sat in the mirror and been like, oh, you're so fat and gross and I hate the way I look and blah, blah, blah. Instead, I'm like, I'm grateful that I have this body and I'm grateful that I am able to train. I'm grateful for all of these things, but I need to now respect and nourish that for a little while. Number 8, being angry and upset and stressed or any negative emotion is a choice. okay? It is a choice. You can change it fast. It helps nothing. So what I mean by that is I used to think that a negative emotion was something that you couldn't control, that I would always be angry, stressed, grumpy, moody, whatever, all of these things. And now realizing that it's a choice, that you can change it straight away. And that's where gratitude comes in. So if you're upset about something, find something to be grateful for. Find something to be appreciative of. Change your mindset. Get out of that task. It's just a bad habit. It's a bad habit to go to an angry emotion, and it's an easy habit. It's like it's easy to grab some chocolate when you're tired rather than preparing a meal. It's easy to go to a negative emotion if you've been doing that for the last 10, 20 years. And it takes a lot of brain training, but you just need to be patient with it and consistent, and you will get there. All right, number 9. Trends fade. Fashion tips. Trends fade. Invest in style that suits you. Okay, so that's a big one. I think I used to spend money on, like a fad or a trend, and I'd realize that things just fade. Not everything suits your physique, that suits your shape. Buy things and invest in things that are timeless pieces. I know this is going way off topic, but it is something that I think is important. Invest in leggings, that's a big one. But no, seriously, invest in things like a good pair of jeans and a good denim jacket, a nice pair of boots, a bag, rather than, some cropped hoodie like that you can probably get a knockoff of 20 bucks on Misguided. Like, invest in what suits you rather than in a fad or trend. So don't waste your money on crap. Number 10, we're doing more money ones now. Money isn't everything, and experiences are so important for fulfillment over handbags, okay? I have had a lot of experiences over the last 10 years. I've traveled a lot. I've invested money in other aspects in my life, in my business, in things that have failed. I remember I spent like a lot of money, like a good 10 grand on my first website, and it was a complete failure. It got hacked. It was a nightmare. And I don't regret it because I learned a lesson from it, but I've spent my time investing in experiences, investing in learnings. I've spent a lot of money on education over the years. I think I looked at my HEX debt the other day, which is a university debt, and I've got like a good, another 30 grand to pay off that, but I wouldn't take it back in the world, because in life you can have, you can go buy a handbag with that 30 grand. You go buy 10 handbags with that. But would I have the education that I have today to be able to help people? No. Would I have those experiences? No. So don't always be scared with money. Like, be a little more frivolous with it, have fun with it, but then at the same time, do things that are going to lead to experiences, learnings, all of that. My parents never really, I didn't come from a family of a lot of money, but the one big thing my dad always said to me, especially when I was in my early 20s, is he didn't tell me to save a lot. He didn't tell me to worry about that. He was like, you're 20, go and have fun, go and enjoy your life, go travel, do things, experience things. And then when you're 25 to 30, maybe start to think a little bit more about it, be a little bit smarter with your coin. But you want to have experiences in your life and not have regrets that, okay, great, you bought a house by the time you were 22, but you literally have not experienced anything. And then you get to 30 and you're like, shit, all my friends are now settling down with kids and I want to go off and travel the world because now I've got financial freedom. I'm not saying one way is better, but I'm just saying have a think about it that way. Have a think about the fact that you can't sometimes buy an experience later on in life that you could have had when you were 20 or 30. All right, then, in saying that, money tip number 11, in saying that, be smart with your money and understand tax and GST if you run your own business. I got absolutely shot in the foot with this a couple of years ago. I had some messy stuff with GST, didn't realize I'd been registered for it. Once you earn basically over 75,000, you have to register for GST if you run your own business. And I got this big GST bill, and that really taught me a lesson. I was probably being a little bit too frivolous at that point. And yeah, I learnt my lesson. But the thing is, no one teaches you about tax and GST when you're at high school, which I think it should be in there. We should have some units at high school on running your own business, running a small business, all of these things, because there's so many people now and so many opportunities to do that. So be smart with your money. Yeah, still have a savings account, put some money aside, have all those things set up, and understand that things like tax and GST are a real thing if you're going to run your own business, and that a lot of people don't realize that. So a lot of people say a personal training session is $80, then maybe 25% of that is going to be tax, and then another 10 to 15% of that is going to be GST, and then you're paying gym rent as well. So from that session, it might sound good on paper, but I might only be making maybe $30 from that personal training session, maybe 30, 40 bucks at the end of it. So personal trainers out there, if you were charging way less than that, then I would question what you are doing. All right, number 12, there'll always be a time to lose weight or gain muscle. Don't try to rush it overnight and get short-term results or rebound. Definitely a big one. I've made those mistakes where I've tried to quickly lose weight for something or gain muscle quickly, got really frustrated and given up basically. So all I'm trying to say there is don't rush things, be patient and understand that these things take time. But if you do it in a slower, healthier fashion, then you're going to be much happier with the end result and it's probably going to be more long term. Number 13, all women need to be kinder to themselves. There's nothing more to say than that really, but every single female out there, be kinder to yourself. Listening to this, watching this, we're so hard on ourselves, like so incredibly hard on ourselves. Like, it's just crazy. Like, I work with females all day, every day, and the stuff that they say about themselves is horrible. The way they speak to themselves, I'm fat, I'm this, no one will love me. All of these things that go through their head. Like, I've been there, especially when I've been in bad relationships, where I've had people cheat on me and had people say horrible things to me. It's made me, it breaks down your self-confidence, but at the same time, only if you let it. And I let those people control my feelings and emotions. So the big thing is be kinder to yourself. Like, you only get one life, you only get one body, you only get one chance. So be nice to yourself. You should be your best friend. You should be your biggest cheerleader, not your biggest hater. So really, females out there listening to this, be fucking nice to yourself. There is no point beating yourself up. Yeah, it's okay to say to yourself, okay, you've been a little slack, like, let's pick up the game now, you need to be a bit more compliant. There's a difference between pushing yourself and being mean to yourself, and really differentiate that line. There's no point, you're just wasting time being nasty to yourself. The things that I used to say to myself were horrible. Looking back in my early 20s, I was so tough on myself, and all it did was lead to unhappiness. And just accepting who you are and being a part of that and understanding, okay, I'm here now, I might not want to be here for life, I'm going to get there, but I need to respect where I'm at today and be kind to that. So be nice to yourself. Number 14 ties on from that. All women need to speak to themselves the way they talk to people they love, not hate. So if you were talking to your best friend, would you say the things that you say to yourself in the mirror to them? All the horrible things that we say to ourselves, would you say that to your best friend? Absolutely not. So start talking to yourself like you're your best friend, your biggest cheerleader, and you'll start to really have more happiness and be able to move forward in a more positive light. Number 15, music is good for your soul. I absolutely love music, and definitely over the last like 10, 15, 20 years, I grew up with a lot of music. My brother and my dad were very musical. I was probably the most unmusical one in the family. I did, however, play the trumpet at high school. But yeah, my brother and my dad always played guitar. We always had music going around our house. I grew up listening to Triple J, and like it soothes your soul. If you're in a bad mood, put some music on. If you need to clear your mind, put some music on. Music can have so many nurturing qualities. So I know it's a bit of a random one, but music is good for your soul. Number 16. Slowing down doesn't mean going backwards at times. It means deloading and refreshing on life to move forward. So I used to really think that I had to go all the time, and that I was always in a rush to get things done, had to do everything at once, and then if I didn't do it that way, I would miss out on something in my life. I've definitely learned over the last few years that slowing down and almost taking stock for your life is really important. Having phases of almost deloading from life, deloading from training, deloading from nutrition, having a break from tracking. All of these things are really, really important to help you refresh and move forward. Number 17, patience is important if you want a long-term result in business, relationships, or health. So what I basically mean by that is it's so important to be patient with anything you're doing in your life, and this is probably my biggest struggle. I think being an impatient person that I am, it helps me get shit done, but at the same time it can lead to frustration. So I've definitely learned that I need to be more patient with things, with other people in particular, because I am someone that wants to do it now and I want to do it right away, and I don't really care if it's perfect, I just want to get it done. And like I said, that's a good and a bad thing. It's a good thing in business because you tend to take more risks, do more things. It's a bad thing sometimes in relationships because people don't always go at the same pace as you. So I've definitely learned that, yeah, people got different paces, and to accept that, and it's really, really important. Again, that comes back into expectations. All right, number 18. Relationships are a two-way street, and blaming one or the other helps nothing. So what I've learned looking back on relationships, and I'm talking more personal relationships, but also business, is that relationships are a two-way street. It's never 100% someone's fault. Yeah, there's certain I guess, outliers when it comes to that, things like cheating, that sort of thing, I just have a zero tolerance for. But at the same time, there would have been some form of a trigger for that. I'm not saying that you need to take responsibility if you're a person that got cheated on, absolutely not. But I'm saying that, you know, you must have known there were some problems in the relationship, must have known there were some underlying issues that could have been spoken about. So I guess understanding that relationships are a two-way street. If you're pissed off at your partner about something, say something, speak up about it rather than bottling it up. And so that you guys can come to a unified front together, basically, and move forward. More relationship ones. Number 19. The secret to a healthy relationship is date your best friend and communicate. I've had a lot of long-term relationships over the years. My first one at high school was like 18 to 20, oh no, 17 to 19, so that was 2 years. And then I had a 4-year or 3.5, 4-year relationship that was very on and off. And then I had a 1-year relationship, and then I had a 6-month relationship, and then I had a semi-long distance relationship, and then I had a break for 2 years, and then I met Sean. So yeah, I've had a lot of long-term relationships. I'm not someone that just goes on a lot of dates, that sort of thing. I tend to prefer to be with someone long-term and commit to that. But the biggest thing I've learned, not saying that any of those relationships were bad, I'm not saying that those people were bad, but they were just wrong for me. It's as simple as that. Looking back on it, they were wrong for me. I don't blame them. I'm sure they don't blame me. But I think it's just a case of going, like, I'm friends with some of them still. I've never been, luckily, in super, super horrible relationships, but definitely been in ones that challenged me, that made me change as a person, and for the good and bad sometimes. But with Sean and the relationship that I'm in now, we've almost 3 years, and, you know, fingers crossed it keeps going the way it is, but I feel like we've never left the honeymoon period in that 3 years. We moved in together after 4 months. It was very quick. We got a dog after 6 months. Like, we've done a lot together. We both work in the same house pretty much every day, so we spend a lot of time together. Now, that could be annoying, but it's not. We barely, well, we don't fight. Wouldn't say we have fights ever. We've never raised our voices at each other, and I know some people probably won't believe me, but it's true. In 3 years, we've never once raised our voices. We talk and we have discussions where they might be slightly heated, where we might be slightly different opinions on things, but we've never had like a fight like I have in other relationships, like a toxic, nasty fight where you say horrible things to each other. So definitely the secret for us that's really helped us is we communicate very well. If something is bugging me and something that's starting to like play on my mind, I will talk about it then and there rather than letting it build up. I also don't go and really gossip to my friends and other people about our relationship. I talk direct to Sean. I'm like, if I have a problem with you, I'll talk about it. So definitely, like, I think a big one is like talk about your partner like they're your best friend to your friends. I hear a lot of women complaining about their partners. Girlfriends will complain to me about their partners. And I'm just thinking in my head sometimes, like, yeah, it's okay to get it off your chest, but at the same time, like, how would you feel if they were talking about you this way? Like, be respectful and communicate. They're probably my biggest tips in a relationship. Number 20, don't focus on being perfect. Focus on being productive. Perfectionism equals procrastination and frustration. Make a decision and go. Learn from the mistakes. Absolutely. I don't think I've ever been a super, super perfectionist, but definitely in some aspects, mainly more so business. But definitely, like, perfectionism helps nothing. Just get on with it, try something, make a mistake, learn from it, boom, go. Pretty straightforward, that one. Number 21, balance is not a thing. I know I post about this a lot, but I do believe in it. Focus on where your energy is being dispersed. You can't give 100% to 5 aspects of your life and nail them all, okay? That's really, really important. You're gonna go in phases of, I guess, an equilibrium in life where if you're focusing, let's say, for example, on a contest prep, you're gonna be giving maybe 70% of your energy to that, and then other areas of your life you're gonna have to pull back from a little bit. Maybe like your social life, maybe you're not gonna go on as many dates with your partner, all of these things, but it's not to say those things are gonna fall apart. And then let's say your contest prep's over. Okay, now you're gonna focus more time on your business, on your relationships, less time on the gym, less time on nutrition. But it's never a zero at all areas. It's always just this equilibrium of moving things around. I guess you could call that balance, but that's what I see balance as. I don't see balance as something that you're gonna have the exact same balance for every single day of the year, every single month, every single moment. It's going to be an equilibrium of a balancing act of making sure you're achieving things, but you're not overdoing it and trying to do everything perfectly. Because what will end up happening when you are trying to do everything perfectly is that you'll get really frustrated because you're not getting anything done well. So yeah, focus on a couple of key areas of your life, make sure the others are still going, but then spend time on different areas. Number 22, being honest will make you more relatable and also make you more proud of yourself and allow you to own who you are. When I was a kid, I used to lie a lot to my parents. I was a sneaky little shit, I'll be honest with you. If my mum's listening to this, she will know that. I used to be the kid that would steal like $5 out of her wallet and go buy lollies at the shop, and I was just a little brat. I used to sneak around like with boys when I was a teenager, when I was living at home, and I wouldn't tell my parents where I was going, you know, sneaky underage drinking, all those things you do as a kid. I definitely wasn't crazy, you know, I never went down the drug route or anything like that, but I was sneaky and I used to get caught. I used to always get caught doing these things. I was a bad liar. And I just learned over the years that lying helps nothing. You always get caught, you always get found out. Be honest with people, be honest about everything that you do. And I think more so as a coach, I've never ever lied to people with anything that I've ever posted. But it's more a case of I probably wasn't honest in sharing some of the stuff that was going on in my life, honest about my own health struggles, because I thought as a coach you need to be perfect, as a coach you need to be this role model, and if you show signs of weakness, who's going to want to work with you? Which was absolutely stupid. As soon as I started opening up and telling people my own struggles and my own things that I've worked through, I became much more relatable. So I think don't be scared of honesty, it makes you who you are. I think that putting on an ego or putting on a front, it doesn't help anything. I think that honesty is beautiful and owning who you are. Number 23, flaws are a positive thing. Flaws help us grow, learn, and instigate change. So I think, again, this comes back to perfectionism, but if you focus so hard on all the things that are wrong with you, you're just going to feel depressed. You're going to feel lonely. You're going to feel down. You're going to feel like crap. Like, who wants to focus on their flaws all day? And I used to always be that person. I'd be like, oh, my boobs aren't big enough. My teeth aren't straight enough. My eyes are too small, the wrong color. I would focus on all the flaws that I had. I'm not smart enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not lean enough. All of these things. Most of them were physical that I always focus on. But even in terms of personality, I would pick out certain things. So I think, yeah, like I used to be super shy, and I was always like, I want to be more confident. That was like when I was 18, 19, I'm completely different to who I am today. Now that flaw about my personality, I definitely think focusing on change from that. So I threw myself into situations where I had to grow confidence. Putting videos up on YouTube, doing live videos, getting on a bodybuilding stage, guest speaking in front of thousands of women at expos, at events. All of these things, if you had to ask the 18-year-old me if I wanted to do any of that, I would have said, fuck no. Like, I lacked so much confidence and self-belief that it held me back and it crippled me for many years. So focus on your positives and being kind to yourself and understanding that, yeah, you're going to have flaws, but some of them you can change and some of them you just have to accept. That's life as well, that you're born into this body, and just accept what you've been given and work on what you can and leave what you can't. Number 24. Nutrition. There are no bad foods, just poor choices based on your goals. Absolutely. I used to be the person, I remember working at the second gym I ever worked at, and the coaches there were quite extreme, and they were like, sugar's the devil, carbs are bad, gluten's bad for everyone, you can't eat dairy, you can't eat this, you can't eat that, you must supplement with 100 supplements a day. And they got me so scared of so many foods that it became a very toxic relationship with food. I would start judging other people. I'd be like, oh my God, they're eating like, oh my God, I can't believe they're eating that, a protein bar, or oh my God, it's got artificial sweeteners in it. I was a judgmental little brat looking back on it. And the biggest thing I've learned and what I want to teach my clients is there are no bad foods, there's just poor choices based on your goals. Yeah, obviously there's certain foods that aren't going to have any health benefits, like transaturated fat is probably the biggest one I try to stay clear of. But really, everything else, if you're looking at it, unless you have something that you are intolerant to, that you're allergic to, you have a severe medical condition, say you are celiac or you have Crohn's, you have all of these different things, then yeah, there's going to be certain foods that aren't good for your goals, that aren't good for your health. I have IBS. I know there's certain foods that are bad foods for me personally. but they're not bad foods. Like broccoli, for example, great health benefits. For me, can't eat it. Same with cauliflower, same with apples, same with certain things. So understanding that your food should be based on your goals and where you're at. Okay, number 25, you can always lose weight, but your health has to come first. Spend time working on it. Absolutely. I see a lot of young girls come to me and they're 17, 18, 19, and they want to build muscle and lose fat and do this and do that, and they want to compete. And if you start competing at the age of like 18, 19, when your hormones are still unstable and you're getting to low body fat levels, it can be very dangerous. I have one client now who's like 24 now, but she started competing when she was 18 and her hormones are a mess now. We're trying to fix all the damage that happened from those younger years of competing. And for me, where I messed myself up was doing so many shows back to back. I did like 3 years straight of competing, and then I'd have like 6 months off and then be back into it again. I wasn't focusing on my health at all. I was just focusing on the physical. So I think definitely like have time off from things. Focus on your health. Focus on making sure your hormones are healthy, making sure your blood work's healthy, making sure you feel good, making sure all these other aspects that are related to health and fitness are really important, because there's a lot of bullshit people out there who will be posting, I guess, lies on the internet, health and fitness role models, which I use that term loosely, but they're not doing half that stuff. They're not healthy. A lot of them are taking stuff, or they are overdoing cardio year round. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with cardio, but like year round and super low calories year round, and telling people that that's how they maintain a healthy lifestyle, when we all know that it's not. Okay, next one. Where are we at? God, I'm speeding through these today. Number 26, weight training is good for your soul. If anyone says it's manly, who gives a fuck? Do more what makes you smile. So basically, I got into resistance training because I saw fitness models back in the day. Jamie Easton was the first person that I really looked up to, and Ashley Horner. And I was like, wow, muscles are sexy. Like I was very skinny, a little bit athletic, but quite skinny. And I wanted muscle and I wanted ab definition. I was like skinny fat. I had a little bit of muscle, a bit of body fat, mainly in my midsection, and I had no upper body and no shape. And I looked at these women and I was like, wow, like that's sexy. And then I kind of fell in love with weight training, and it made me feel strong, and I was good at it, and it made me feel empowered, and it made me get confidence again. And then, you know, over the last few years, I've had comments on posts, they're starting to look manly, you're starting to look this way, you're starting to look that way. And I had to really ignore that and focus on what makes me happy. Because I don't just go to the gym to change how I look physically. I go to the gym because it makes me feel fucking awesome. I love feeling strong. I love feeling healthy. I love improving. I love seeing progression. There's so many other reasons why I go to the gym, and I couldn't give a fuck if someone thinks I look manly, because I love what I do. My boyfriend loves that about me. And again, same thing for him. He's like, I think it's sexy that you're strong and you're motivated in the gym. He's like, it's not so much about how you look. He's like, yeah, you look great, but he's like, I love you because you push yourself, and because you're not a girl in there that's worried about sweating, or worried about like looking like a mess at the end of a session, or worried about getting big. You're just in there grinding and working hard. So that's why I love weight training. Don't let anybody deter you from it if it makes you happy. 27, supplements play such a minor role in your results that unless your nutrition and training is bang on, it's really a waste of time and money, okay? So I have really pulled away from supplements and certain things in the industry, and this is definitely one. So they play a small role, but let's be honest. If your nutrition and training isn't bang on, you're not going to know if it's the supplement helping or whether it's the nutrition or training. So make sure you sort that first before you look into supplementation. Especially if you're starting on your health and fitness journey, don't worry about them to start. Just get training, get eating well, figure out your macros, your energy intakes, fiber, all of that. Then worry about supplements later on. Number 28, social media. Social media, for the most part, is a business tool. Be careful what you consume and take in with a grain of salt. Stop wasting your time focusing on accounts that don't serve a purpose to you in your life. So if you're looking at social media and it's making you feel upset, depressed, whatever, don't look at it. Again, it's a choice on how you perceive things. You can perceive someone that looks better or better than you in your opinion as motivating, or you can see it as deterring. So you can have a choice. If I see someone that looks amazing, I see it as motivating and inspiring to me. But a lot of women that speak to me say that it puts them off because they feel like they're never going to be there. So make a choice what you look at. If it's bothering you that much, unfollow that account. Don't look at it, Because again, like I said, a lot of the time what most people, fitness related, social media is business. For me, to be honest, what I post some stuff that I just love on my personal account. That's pretty much what I do. I post me, who I am, what I do, what I love, my life. You guys see everything on my Instagram stories, my puppies, my partner, all of that. But at the same time, yeah, it's part of my business. So obviously I'm going to post stuff that's related to what I do with people. And that's really important to understand. Number 29, it's better to have a few friends than ones that don't have your back or that you can't trust. This is a big one I've learned over the last few years. My, I guess, inner circle, so to speak, has shortened a little bit. Now, I'm not saying in those relationships that I have kind of finished some friendships or maybe pulled away from a little bit. Not to say that I don't still love those people or care about them, but there's certain relationships I've had to pull back from because they've been very negative, very toxic, and that's not what I'm about. And it was making me become like that. Like, I'd notice myself hanging out with them and I'd start saying negative things, and I'm like, hang on a minute, this isn't me. When I'm hanging out with my other friends that are super positive, this doesn't happen, because you are the sum of who you surround yourself with. And if you're in a toxic community, eventually it's going to rub off on you. So I guess don't be scared to have less friends. It's when you go to your grave, it's not a popularity contest. So have people that are positive, that serve a purpose, that are encouraging, uplifting, care about you, all of those things. Now, this being said, people will go through hard times. People will go through moments where they're struggling and they're going to reach out to you as a friend. That's completely different. And if you're there for them, then that makes you a good friend. Absolutely. And I'll be there for people 110% if they need me. But at the same time, if they're not there for you in the reverse, if you've got those friends that you see and they never ask you how you are and they never care about your life, they only talk about their own problems, then it becomes quite exhausting. And I think I had a lot of that. It was almost like I had a few friendships that because I am generally a happy person and I don't focus on the negatives, and even if I've had a tough day, I say, yeah, I've had a tough day, but you know, that's fine. That's just life. I won't be like, oh my God, I've had the worst day, and so someone gives me this sympathy. That's not, I don't want to put that on someone else. I know how to deal with my own stuff. So I think a lot of the time I've had friendships where they sometimes maybe forget that even though I'm a coach, I don't want to always have my coach hat on. I'd like to just be a friend sometimes. And that can be hard in this industry because I am friends with a lot of my clients, and I've definitely learnt that, yeah, there is a fine line there and it's important to have those boundaries. But at the same time, some of my coaches have become some of my best friends and probably will be for my life. And I'm so grateful for that as well. But it's just understanding that, yeah, you don't need a big circle. Keep your circle, the ones that really care about you, people that you really respect and value and that help uplift you and you can uplift them. Number 30, the final one. Being stuck in a story doesn't help you focus on growth. It only holds you back. Focus on the now and the future. So what I mean by that is I used to get very stuck in my story. I used to think, okay, by the age of blah, 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 I'll be here. By the age of 30, here we go, coming up to 30, this is why I finished on this one. I thought that I would have kids. I thought that I would have brought a house, maybe a second property. I thought that I would be a housewife, that I wouldn't be working. Oh my God. And so much has changed. So much has changed. Now, if I focused on that story, it would be so depressing. It would be so upsetting that I don't have any of those things. I have a few of those things. But my life is completely different for the better. Maybe not better, because I don't know what that would be like, but my life is good. And I don't have any of those things. So I think that we think that certain things in our life, certain tangible things, certain milestones are going to make us happy, when it's often not those things. It's often just enjoying your life and being happy and finding your happiness in other areas. So for me, I didn't realize how much joy and fulfillment I'd have from my work. I didn't realize that me helping change women's lives would make me so happy and make me want to get out of bed in the morning. Years ago, I didn't like what I was doing. Even when I first started PTing, I loved it, but I didn't think it would be a career. Now moving into the online space, I can see that this is something I want to do for the rest of my life, and I didn't think that I'd be here. Now, if I had got stuck in my story of worrying about being a housewife, then I wouldn't have built the business I have today, have staff, employees, all of that, and be building this little empire that I want to have as a legacy for when I do have children, or I do have those things, if that happens. But if it doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world. I have 2 fur babies, and I'm currently building my house, my first house, and so which I do own. So I'm getting there, but it hasn't happened exactly on 30. It hasn't happened by this clear deadline. Me and Sean, so co-host of my podcast, we've spoken about children. And there's certain things that we'd like to do before that. There's never going to be a perfect time to have kids, and I've accepted that. But we do want to wait until our house is built. We want to wait till a few things have happened business-wise. I want to compete one more time. There's certain things we want to tick off before that. And then, yeah, we'll be ready for kids. But I'm no longer putting the need for kids before the need for my life and the things that make me happy right now. So don't get stuck in your story. Your story will change, and that's a good thing, okay? I've also met people that have done that, who have got married really young, had kids really young, have the house, have the husband, and they're unhappy, okay? Not everyone, absolutely, but I'm just saying that sometimes the story isn't what you think it's gonna be. Sometimes the ending isn't what you thought it was gonna be. Even if you have tangible things, it doesn't guarantee happiness. So that is it for me, guys. I've got one last little bonus one for you, okay? Being you will never go out of fashion. Know who you are, live with your standards. I'm gonna leave it on that. I hope you enjoyed this. I really love doing it. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. If you do want to get in touch with me, RE Coaching, it's simply aliceround.com. I'll leave all the links below. And thank you so much for being here and celebrating my 30th with me. And I'll chat to you, all you amazing humans, in the next video, in the next episode. Chat to you soon. See you guys.